Hi, welcome to another edition of Inside the Outdoors for the Digital Outdoorsman. I'm here today with Stephen Barnes, who is Vice President of Product and Innovation at Kelty. I've been really excited about getting the opportunity to do this interview ever since I got to meet Stephen at Outdoor Retailer this past July. So thank you for joining me today. It's exciting
Thanks,
to have
pleasure
you.
to be here.
So in your background and your position currently is product and innovation.
Yeah.
So outside of, I kind of figure you do these clandestine trips outdoors and that. What does it mean to be?
It's all top secret and have to kill you if I told you.
What does it take? What do you do with the innovation aspect? That's such a great title, and people are probably going, wow.
Yeah, well, innovation is, as a former boss said one time, there's no such thing as innovation, just iteration from other industries. And I think that's a key ingredient of what we do, is looking outside of our normal industry for ideas. And looking at automobiles in particular, their materials that they use for seats, which obviously are subjected to a lot of abrasion as people move in and out of a vehicle. Is there something we can use there for a coating or for a fabric that might translate to a backpack? Interesting things like that. That's where the innovation aspect comes in, is looking outside of ourselves and looking for outside influences. What can we pull in to make our product unique and special?
Is that where you look at some of your ideas for both materials, fabrics, composites that go into your new products, is looking outside the industry?
Absolutely. Even within our own industry, but a different segment. For example, a lot of the footwear guys have some real innovative uses of materials because footwear gets subjected to all sorts of abuse. So is there something we can learn from how a shoe is constructed or the materials they might use that would translate to what we do in backpacks, tents, sleeping bags, furniture, things like that?
And a testing program, I know one of the things that I found really sweet is I read Tom Hornbein's book on the west slope of Everest, and
63.
Kelty, yes, in 1963,
Yep.
was the backpack used
Yep.
to climb. And in fact, I was looking last night, thumbed through the book, and you can see photographs
Yeah.
of the backpacks. What do you do in outdoor product testing, either, yourselves or through ambassador programs to help you with product and innovation?
All of the above. We typically in our timeline, we have windows built in where we would test products. That would be, the initial kind of ideation phase. Then we write a brief for the designers. They go through their design process. They create a tech pack, goes off to a factory, get a prototype back, and at that point, that's where the testing phase takes over. And we'll send stuff out to ambassadors. Certain brands have athletes that they would use for that sort of adventure. We do it ourselves quite frequently. That's kind of the fun aspect, is get outside the cubicle and go outside and play, and take these things out and drag them around the woods and see where are there any wear points that start showing up on a backpack. Is the tent easy to set up in the rain, in the dark? And trying to put ourselves into an environment that our customers would actually be using the product and make sure that it's going to meet their demands.
With Kelty's history and family camping, being a pioneer in that area, and as we discussed previously, Kelty published the first all-women's product catalog in 1975. As you do your job now, do you take segments and also look at innovation and new products in those areas by sort of segment stacks, or is it just kind of flow across the whole product line, or do you have goals in those areas?
Absolutely. Great question. And it's kind of funny, the product ideation process, there's a lot of buckets that are already established that product needs to fit into. And it's just, how do we create a slightly different look within that bucket?
And over the course of the last few years, with as fast pace as we live in, and with the advent of digital, how have you seen the timeline shrink of what you need to do, and from design idea to get it to market? And are you getting support, technical support from outside outside the company that helps bring it to market faster?
Yes, definitely seeing an accelerated pace of everything, and it actually is incumbent on us to get ahead of the curve on the product side, to start planning our lead times a little bit longer. We're definitely seeing some impacts of some of the environmental changes that are happening in China, and our lead times on prototyping and sampling and production are getting longer. So it ends up giving us even a little bit less time on the front end of the process to make sure we're doing the right stuff and getting it into the mix.
And it feeds into that of walking the line. As this morning I just finished reading a report from Business Intelligence that for this particular holiday season, the survey research they did is 71% of the consumers would go into a store to buy, but 41% of them would be buying direct either from the manufacturer or through some e-tailer. So that leads to the hot topics of walking the line with you needing to transform, being responsive to consumer preferences, but the role of the brick and mortar in the future of Kelty and the industry going forward.
Boy, if we had the answers to that, wouldn't we be geniuses? I think there's a significant place for brick and mortar, or at least some format of service for the consumer to answer questions, whether it be a phone bank or a direct human interaction at a store. There's so much great product in the market today. How does a consumer kind of dive through all the different opportunities and figure out what exactly they want? And a lot of times, it's nice to have some help with that process.
Well, and whether people go into a store or do it online, service, continues to be a key. It's always been a key, but it's even more so how to get people there. So that leads to the digital universe. And where do you see Kelty wanting to go with, digital marketing, participating in the digital universe, capturing part of that?
It's something we're very actively doing and hoping to grow over the next several years. One of the things we talk about in-house is that because there's so much great product at really good prices out there now, how do we separate ourselves, the wheat from the chaff per se, and make ourselves be unique and want to be a brand that everybody wants to attach themselves to and therefore go buy our products. And there's a lot of opportunity for us to do a great job of not just branding, but social media conveying our message to Built for Play. Really get out there and have fun. I think to a certain extent we sometimes take ourselves too seriously, and we forget that the whole point of getting outside is to get out of the cubicle and go have fun. And it's our marketing team is working really hard to create some really fun ways for people to connect with the outdoors and with our brand as a result.
That's great. Well, thank you.
Thank
you
you
for joining us again today for this episode of the Inside the Outdoors with Stephen Barnes. See you next time.